Have you ever felt like you're right on the edge of a breakthrough, but something invisible holds you back? Like you're doing everything right, the affirmations, the visualizations, the journaling, but your reality stays the same? Tonight, we're diving into something so profound, so rarely discussed, that even Neville Goddard himself only hinted at it in passing. A secret that only activates when you're at the edge of sleep, when the conscious mind is slipping away and the subconscious becomes wide open. This isn't just theory. This is the gateway to manifesting effortlessly, and most people have no idea they're doing it wrong. Neville Goddard called this state the doorway, and he wasn't being poetic. He was pointing to a neuropsychological reality. Right before sleep, your brain slips into the hypnagogic state, a mystical borderland between waking and dreaming. This is the only time when your affirmations bypass the filters of logic, skepticism, and trauma-based resistance. In that fleeting moment, the veil lifts. You can reprogram the subconscious without resistance. But here's the kicker. Most people fall asleep too fast or stay too alert, and they miss it completely. They never cross the threshold where the real magic happens. Hold up. Before I tell you exactly how to access this forgotten power, subscribe right now if you've ever felt like the law of assumption works for others, but not for you. Click like. If you're tired of superficial manifestation hacks that never deliver real change, and share this video with someone who's been stuck in their manifestation journey. They need to hear this, and so do you. Because what I'm about to show you doesn't come from TikTok trends. It's not from self-help books rehashing the same affirmations. This is pure Neville. And when you understand how to use it, reality will begin to bend in ways that seem impossible. So let me ask you something. What do you really think about right before you fall asleep? Not what you say you believe, but what you feel. That raw, quiet feeling as your mind drifts off. That final emotional imprint before the curtain closes for the night. Because that is what your subconscious takes as truth. And that is what it will recreate in your waking life. Neville taught that feeling is the secret. But he also said something even more cryptic. Sleep is the doorway into the subconscious. What he meant is this. If you can control your state of mind in the few minutes before unconsciousness, you can impress your desire so deeply that your external world has no choice but to rearrange. And it doesn't take hours. You don't need to meditate for 30 minutes. You don't need binaural beats or crystals. Unless you want them. All you need is to consciously create a short scene as you fall asleep and feel it as if it were real. Not visualize it like a daydream. Live it. Breathe it. Whisper it to yourself as if it's already happened. This is what Neville meant when he said, you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and go to sleep in that assumption. But here's the part that almost everyone gets wrong. They try to force it. They strain. They visualize with tension. They repeat affirmations robotically. They forget that the subconscious doesn't speak language. It speaks emotion, imagery, states. So if you're saying, I am wealthy, but you feel poor, your subconscious isn't fooled. It hears the emotion, not the words. The trick is to gently guide yourself into a natural, relaxed imagining, right before sleep, with the emotion of fulfillment fully present. And that's when it clicks. That's when the conscious mind lets go, and the subconscious says, this is the new command. There's a technique, a step-by-step process that Neville described in obscure lectures, and it's barely ever talked about. He called it SAATS, state akin to sleep. But what if I told you there's a way to hack this state without years of practice? What if you could condition your body to enter SATS on demand, within minutes? This is where science and mysticism collide, and where most manifestation coaches go silent, because this is advanced, and it works too well when done right. Let me show you something. A technique that's so subtle, so powerful, it feels like cheating reality. It begins with a single shift in how you breathe, how you lay your body, how you speak to yourself, not out loud, but within. And once you align all three, the veil between your inner world and the external world begins to dissolve. But here's where most people fail. They try it once, maybe twice. They don't feel the result immediately, and they give up. They miss the moment when reality is just about to give in, because manifestation isn't magic. It's rhythm. It's repetition inside a sacred window of vulnerability, the moment right before sleep. And when you align with it, that's when you'll start noticing the strange signs, the odd coincidences, the shifting faces in your life, the money that comes unexpectedly, the conversations that align perfectly with what you imagined. And it doesn't stop there. What if I told you that Neville left behind clues to go even deeper than this? That there's a forgotten layer, buried in one of his lesser-known lectures, that reveals how to stay in this state longer. Even while you're technically awake? A method so effective, it creates continuous subconscious reprogramming, even during your day? Would you want to know it? Because that's where we go next. You see, the reason most people don't get results with the law of assumption isn't because the law is broken. It's because they're not entering the correct state. They try to manifest from the mind, but the subconscious doesn't obey the mind. It obeys states. That's why Neville emphasized not what you think, but how you feel yourself to be. If you feel yourself to be abundant, even when your bank account says otherwise, your external reality must eventually reflect that inner shift. But the doorway to that new state is fragile. It opens briefly, when you're almost asleep. And if you know how to slip through it, you'll no longer need vision boards or 100 affirmations a day. You'll become a quiet creator, manifesting in silence, manifesting in rest. And that's what Neville was pointing to. Now let me give you something practical. A step-by-step ritual you can begin tonight. No tools, no apps, no pressure. Only you, your breath, and the threshold of sleep. Step 1. Prepare the environment. Dim the lights. Turn off devices. No blue light. No stimulation. Your subconscious is sensitive. Treat it like a temple. Step 2. Lie down with intention. As your head hits the pillow, decide who you're becoming. Not what you hope for, but what you've already become. Feel it. Breathe as that version of you. Step 3. Craft the scene. Imagine one short scene, a single moment, that implies your wish is fulfilled. Not the whole story, just a snippet. It could be a friend congratulating you, a text message with good news, a bank notification. Keep it simple. Step 4. Enter the state. Akin to sleep. Let your body relax. Start breathing slower. Let the scene replay gently, looping like a lullaby, not with tension, but with surrender. Let the feeling of "this is real" slowly wash over you, and then let yourself drift. Most people mess this up by trying to force the image, by straining to see it clearly. But you don't need to see it. You just need to feel it. Neville said, "The world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself." So the real manifestation? It doesn't happen when you're wide awake, grinding, scripting, wishing. It happens in the stillness, in the silence, when your defenses are down and you're just being. Let me tell you something strange. There are people who've used this exact technique to manifest entire lives they once thought were impossible. One woman entered this state nightly, imagining a wedding ring on her finger, not pleading, not hoping, just resting in the knowing. She felt the weight of it, the warmth of her partner's hand. And 6 months later, completely unexpectedly, she met someone who described her exactly as she had imagined being described. He proposed within weeks, not because she chased it, but because she became it. The subconscious is not rational, it is literal. It doesn't respond to effort, it responds to identity. So the question isn't, what do you want? It's, who are you being as you fall asleep? Because that is what you are commanding into being. But here's something Neville never said outright. There's a hidden sequence, an energetic stacking of feelings that supercharges the SATS state. And once you understand how to layer these emotions just before sleep, you're no longer just visualizing. You're transmitting, not to a distant universe, but to your own subconscious, which is the only creative power that exists. Now, let me reveal this hidden sequence. Write this down, save it, burn it into your nervous system. Gratitude for something that hasn't happened yet, as if it already has. Relief, as if the wait is finally over. Confidence, a deep sense of course, this was inevitable. Love, not romantic, but self-love, for having become the version of you who made it real. Stack those feelings, layer them like a lullaby, and breathe them in as your mind fades. You don't have to believe it 100%, but if you can feel it even for 10 seconds, that's enough to begin the shift. Neville said, "You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it." Read that again. Let it sink in, because you don't need to beg. You don't need to hustle. You just need to stop arguing with the version of you that's already living that life, and let sleep carry you into that truth. Now, listen carefully. There's a reason I haven't shared the final piece yet. Because there's one more element that ties it all together, something Neville only shared, in fragments. It's what I call the awake dream loop, a method that allows you to reactivate your assumption during the day without meditating, visualizing, or stopping what you're doing. It creates a bridge between night and day, between imagination and reality. And once that bridge is built, reality stops contradicting you. Instead, it starts obeying. But you're not ready for that piece until you've mastered this one. Until you've laid down tonight, entered the state gently, and surrendered to the scene. Because once you do, once your subconscious accepts it, something starts happening, something very strange. Reality will begin to echo back what you felt in the silence, in conversations, in random phone calls, in the oddest synchronicities. And when it does, when that first mirror flickers, you'll know. And in the next part, I'll reveal how to lock the state in place, even while you're awake. So you stop resetting your vibration every morning and start living in the unchangeable truth of who you now are. Let me ask you something. What if your outer reality is only persisting because your inner state keeps resetting? What if, every morning, you unknowingly return to the old self, the version that doubts, that hopes, that tries, instead of the version that simply is? This is where most people break the loop. They spend a few minutes at night imagining their desires, but during the day, they go back to reacting to their bank balance, reacting to a text that never came, reacting to circumstances they unknowingly commanded the night before. And so they reinforce the old script, over and over again. Neville warned us, you cannot persist in one state and expect the world to reflect another. This is the part no one wants to hear. You can't visualize wealth at night and then complain about bills the next morning. You can't imagine love and then spend your day feeling abandoned, not because the universe is punishing you, but because you are the operant power. You're not sending out wishes. You're setting the tone of the entire script. And if you don't anchor your new state in your waking hours, you'll unconsciously drift back to the one you're most familiar with. And familiarity is powerful, even if it's painful. So how do we stop the reset? How do we carry the ersatz state, that sacred, magical moment between waking and sleeping, into the daytime? This is where we unlock the next layer. The technique I mentioned earlier, what I call the awake dream loop. It's not a meditation. It's not journaling. It's not chanting affirmations into your phone all day. It's simpler, but it requires discipline. Because once you start using this, your subconscious will begin to shift faster than you're used to. And with that comes responsibility. Here's how the awake dream loop works. Remember the scene you visualized the night before? The one you used to fall asleep with? You're going to carry that scene into the next day, but not by visualizing it all over again. You'll feel the echo of it. All day, you'll behave, speak, walk, and breathe as someone who just woke up from a dream where it already happened. You're not pretending. You're not acting. You're simply staying loyal to the memory of that fulfilled desire, like a dream that still lingers in your bones. Let me explain. When you wake up from a dream where something intense happened, maybe you were flying, maybe you found love, maybe you lost something. You don't always remember the details, but you remember the feeling, that foggy, lingering emotion that colors the first few hours of your day. That's what you're going to consciously create. Every few hours, take a breath. Close your eyes for 2 seconds and recall the emotion of the satas scene. Not the picture, not the image, just the emotional atmosphere. If you imagined someone handing you a check, feel the satisfaction. If you imagined your partner kissing your forehead, feel the warmth. If you imagined success, feel the relief of no longer needing to try. This becomes your inner loop. You're dreaming with your eyes open. You're staying in the state. And here's where it gets interesting. The more loyal you become to that internal state, the less you'll react to your current 3D reality. And this is when the external world starts cracking. That's when you'll hear a strange phone call. You'll run into someone from the past who says something eerily aligned with your inner vision. Your bank account shifts. Your body starts to heal. People treat you differently. Why? Because your state has changed. And remember, states are the only reality. Neville Goddard. The mistake people make is thinking their thoughts create reality. Number thoughts are the byproduct of your state. If you change the state, the thoughts change. The actions change. The people in your life begin responding to a different you, because the subconscious doesn't attract what you want. It reflects who you are being. And now that you've learned to command the threshold of sleep, to whisper your new self into the depths of the subconscious, and to carry it with you in quiet confidence throughout the day, you're no longer wishing, you're remembering. And that's when miracles start to look normal. But this isn't the end, because Neville spoke, very briefly, about something deeper than all of this. A state where your imaginal acts override time, where a single assumption can collapse weeks, months, even years of delay, and pull your desire into the now. He hinted at it in his lecture, The Law of Revision. But what if there was a way to combine SATS plus awake dream loop plus revision to not only manifest future desires, but rewrite your past too? To alter memories that are keeping you stuck? What if trauma itself could be edited and the subconscious could be taught a new story. This is where things start to feel unbelievable. But those who've done it, they'll tell you, it's not about faith. It's about feeling a new truth until the world has no choice but to agree. And if you're still here, you're ready. Ready for the deeper teaching. The part that Neville never set out right. The part that requires more than belief. It requires identity. Because what we talk about next has the power to not just manifest your desires, but to erase the things that have blocked you for years. Memories, regrets, failures, even loss. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between a real event and a vividly revised one. And when you learn how to use this, consciously, nightly, and during the day, you'll become untouchable by the past and unstoppable in the future. Nothing comes from without. All things come from within. Neville Goddard. Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. But what if the conception you've been carrying was never truly yours? What if it was downloaded? What if every memory, every belief you've built your life upon, was installed by repetition, trauma, culture, or someone else's opinion of you? You've been manifesting all along, yes, but not from your desires, from your conditioning. And here lies the secret most people never get to. They focus on creating new futures, but they never clean the foundation beneath, and so, like a house built on soft sand, their manifestations collapse under the weight of old identity. This is where revision enters, not as a trick, not as denial, but as spiritual surgery. Let me tell you something radical. You can change the past, not in history books, not in anyone else's memory, but in the only place that truly matters, your subconscious timeline. Because the past isn't solid. It's active. It's fluid. And unless you revise it, it continues playing out, like a loop, guiding your reactions, relationships, even your self-worth. Neville taught that you can go back in imagination, find the moment that wounded you, and replace it with what should have happened. And if you do it correctly, your present reality begins to shift. Not metaphorically, literally. Here's how it works. Recall the scene, not to relive it, not to wallow in it, but to find the root, the lie, the script that locked you in. Step into it. Feel the moment as if it's now, the room, the sounds, the emotion. Change the ending, not with revenge, not with fantasy, but with healing. Did they abandon you? Imagine they stayed. Did they say you weren't good enough? Imagine they celebrated you. Did they ignore your pain? Imagine they apologized. It doesn't matter if it really happened. The subconscious doesn't care. It only cares what you believe to be true now. And when you revise a memory and feel it as true, that version of you, the healed version, becomes the new origin point for your identity. This is not imagination as escapism. It's imagination as correction. It's soul restoration. Because if you're trying to manifest abundance, but your inner child still believes money equals stress, you'll sabotage your own progress. If you want love, but part of you still identifies as unworthy, you'll block intimacy or chase ghosts. You can affirm all day long, but until you change the seed, you'll keep growing the same old tree. Revision changes the seed. Here's the part they don't teach you in typical manifestation circles. You're not manifesting into a neutral space. You're manifesting into a mind that already has layers of programming. And until those layers are addressed, you'll keep projecting your past into the future. That's why Neville didn't just teach visualizing the end. He taught correcting the beginning. He taught going back to the wound and planting a new cause. He said, The past and the present are only different sides of the same coin. What you do in imagination, if persisted in, will become your reality. Think about that. You're not bound by what happened. You're bound by what you've accepted. So tonight, when you enter the state akin to sleep, before you imagine your future self, go back, not to punish yourself, not to analyze, but to heal. Pick one moment, one scene that still haunts you, maybe subtly, maybe loudly, and revise it. Not with force, not with fantasy, but with conviction. Close your eyes and feel it unfolding the way it should have. Even if it takes a few nights, even if you cry, keep at it. Because once that memory is rewritten in feeling, your identity begins to shift, your decisions change, your energy changes, and suddenly the external world starts responding to a new you. There's something sacred about this kind of work. It's quiet, invisible. No one knows you're doing it, but it's the deepest act of self-love you'll ever commit. Because you're not just trying to manifest a car, or a partner, or a raise. You're becoming the person who never doubted they were worthy of those things in the first place. This is true manifestation, identity, not effort, assumption, not striving, imagination, not resistance. When you revise your past, you release the tension that's been keeping your future at bay. Suddenly, you're not asking for things anymore. You're simply experiencing the echo of the inner shift. And if you're paying attention, you'll see it show up in the smallest ways first. A conversation goes differently. A stranger is kind. You sleep better. You stop reacting the same way. And then, something bigger breaks loose because the universe isn't testing you, it's mirroring you. But we're not done, because there's one more layer. Deeper than SATs, deeper than awake dream loop, even deeper than revision. It's what Neville hinted at in his last lectures, a state where you stop manifesting altogether. Because you've become so aligned, you're no longer trying to change reality. You're simply choosing it, like changing a radio station, instantly. But you must be willing to let go of the how, of the timeline, of the craving. This final step is the disappearance of effort, the surrender of doing into being. The I am, the holy name, the final key. You've come this far. You've crossed into a space most people never reach. And now, we step beyond. Because there's a moment in this journey when you stop trying to manifest and start realizing that you've always been the operant power. No longer separate from your desire, no longer chasing it, no longer even visualizing it as other. It becomes you, and you become it. This is what Neville called the I am, not as a concept, but as an identity. When you say, I am wealthy, you're not speaking about the future. You're not making a request. You're declaring a law of being. When you say, I am loved, you're not hoping. You're speaking from the center of power that shapes worlds. And yet, to reach this point, you must do something most people fear. You must let go. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the need. Let go of the when. Because the final stage isn't about control, it's about union. Union with the wish fulfilled. You don't become powerful by forcing your desire into existence. You become powerful by dissolving into it, until there is no longer a gap between the you who wants and the you who is. That's when the illusion breaks. That's when your 3D reality gives in. Not because you chased it, but because you became the version of yourself who never doubted it was already so. So how do you live like this? You wake up in the morning, and instead of asking, what do I have to do today? You ask, who am I being today? Because who you are being is all that matters. If you are being abundance, opportunities appear. If you are being love, you magnetize connection. If you are being peace, the chaos around you dissolves. And here's the sacred truth: you never have to fight for what you already are. So tonight, when you go to bed, slip into that sacred threshold between waking and sleeping. Whisper to yourself, "I am." No pleading, no begging, just certainty. Then let the image of your fulfilled desire float to the surface, not as something to get, but as something that's already happening. Then let go. And tomorrow, live from that memory. The memory of your future, the echo of your destiny, the version of you that already exists in the higher dimension and is simply waiting for you to claim it. You didn't come to this video by accident. Something inside you is waking up. Something deeper than ambition, deeper than goals, deeper than external change. The you that's always been whole, the you that's always had the power, the you that's now ready to stop asking and start assuming. Because you are not a seeker. You are a creator, and you always have been. Now I want to hear from you. If this resonated, if something inside you clicked while watching this, go to the comments right now and finish this sentence. I am ready to. Let your higher self speak. Let your true voice come through. Declare it. Claim it. Anchor it in this moment. Because the moment you speak from your assumption, you create a new energetic signature. You send a signal, not just to the world, but to yourself. The self that's been waiting for you to remember. So go now. Go to the comments and write, I am ready to. Are you ready to receive? Are you ready to let go of the old story? Are you ready to revise the past, embody the present, and collapse the timeline into now? Declare it. Not for me, not for this channel, but for you. Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world reshape itself around you. Neville Goddard. And if you haven't yet, take a moment and subscribe to this channel, because we don't just talk about manifestation, we live it. Every video here is a key. Every idea is a door. And as you walk through each one, you're not just learning more about Neville's teachings. You're remembering the truth of who you are, the I am, the cause behind all effects, the source of every shift, miracle, and manifestation you've ever experienced. And next week, we're going deeper. We're going to explore the final paradox Neville left us with: how to desire nothing and receive everything. This is the final frontier, and when you understand it, you'll never chase again. You'll just choose. Let me know when you're ready to step into that teaching, because once you cross that threshold, there's no going back.